Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Today I have the opportunity to work on an Avet Star Drag reel, and this one's an interesting one because it seems like the free spool, when you go into it, well, it still turns the handle, so it's not engaging or pushing out the yoke. So we're going to try and figure out what's going on with this reel. We'll show you how to take this reel apart, how to service it, how to keep it fishing for a long time to come. This one happens to be the Avet MXL 5.8 Star. Well, what that really means is you have a gear ratio of 5.8, and it's a Star Drag reel. And it's a nice reel in beautiful condition. Angel brought it in to me for service, and he's asked me to correct that issue with the release. So I'm not sure if we have a broken part in here or what might be going on. So we'll start by removing the exterior pieces and parts. That includes a tie down for the cap nut first, and the rest of that in order to see what's going on inside the gear plate. Well, if you like these kinds of videos, if you like to see how reels are serviced, how they are made, learn a little bit about the manufacturer and so on, then I recommend that you service and subscribe to the channel, and you'll see those services. You'll see the various types of reels that I work on, and hopefully it'll encourage you to service the reels yourself. This reel is a heavy-duty reel. It's good for trolling, inshore and offshore. It has a great capacity on it. I don't see the capacity grades here, but it's got a lot of nice capacity, and it's set up for braid. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull off the star adjuster. That's a nice aluminum piece. Most of this is built with aluminum to avoid corrosion. We'll take that off, and you'll see that there's a click behind it. So you have two things going on. You have a little ball that's spring-loaded back here. That's going to make your click. And then you have the ridges that it's going to click on the other side. It's not too much of a different design than the way the internationals work on the older Penn internationals. Well, the side cases are Torx screws. I have just a regular Home Depot Torx set. Make sure when you're using Torx that you match up the tip exactly. If you don't, they're prone to be ripped apart. And well, if you rip them apart and strip them, they're kind of hard to get back in without simply replacing that screw. When I take the parts off, they go into a parts tray. I use the bottom of a fast food container. I like this one. It's a two segment one, so that enables me to use about 8 corners. And for different pieces of the assembly, I put those screws in different places. While I'm taking these off, I'm making sure that all of these screws are the same size. Some manufacturers put different size screws in, and if you do, you want to note those locations. We've removed the 5 side plate screws. We should be able to remove the side plate now. It's almost like famous last words, but here comes the side plate. And I would say maybe, just maybe, all of this is not happening because of a bunch of dirt. But we're going to have to go a little bit further to see. This reel is dirty underneath. There's a pin here that goes into the pinion gear. So let's get that out of here before I go much further. That's the cap, and that's the adjuster for the free spool. I'm going to use a penetrating oil, and I'm going to be careful not to put that penetrating oil onto the anti-reverse clutch. Your anti-reverse clutches should remain dry. I use anybody's oil. This one happens to be a Ace Hardware penetrating oil, and I don't use it much for lubrication. I basically use it for cleanup, which means dissolving the greases and oils that are in the reel. Okay, well, that works nice. Let's make sure that the adjuster here is working, and I think we just figured out what's going on here. There's no adjuster. Well, that's odd. we should have a jack here for the adjuster to ride in. It's nowhere to be found. Well, I don't know what Angel's been doing with this reel, but it's missing a part. And there's no way in the world that you can push out the yoke with a missing jack. We're going to have to get to Avet to get that piece and part. And well, that's going to tell us all we want to know about why this reel failed. We'll just give you a little bit of a look into the rest of it though. So you have two springs. Here are your yoke springs. They're going to control the in and out movement of the spring. But of course, that jack is what's going to move it in and out, and it's missing. Let's go ahead. I'm just curious if it's somehow got detached. I mean, that's just an oddball thing to happen. We have a very nice drag stack with this reel. And we have the last is the click ratchet underneath. Again, this is a curiosity. Somebody has had the reel apart, and well, that's what's caused the issue here. Right now, there we go. I just want to check for all purposes. One of the things you can see here is this is the anti-reverse dog. The anti-reverse dog will move in and out. This is a secondary dog. So the first one, the primary, is the anti-reverse clutch that's in the side plate here. And the secondary dog to take some of the strain off of that is this one. So as you saw, when we put this back on, you want to make sure that you can merge that clutch or that click ratchet with that dog. And that's probably why we were getting a little bit of interference there. And the way to do this when you're servicing the reel is just kind of work underneath here, pull the dog back, set this up on the square so that it mounts properly, and then let that ride in. Oh, we're still not on that square. So sometimes these are kind of fun and sometimes they're a little bit harder, but in this case, now you'll see when we turn this how that anti-reverse dog kind of moves in and out. When you're moving forward, it backs off, and it's a wire-driven, spring-driven kind of a dog thing. Moves in and out. Well, the best thing to do when you're going to order parts is to put the reel back as you found it. The reason you want to do that is that, well, sometimes those parts take a while to get here, and if they are taking that time, well, you may forget exactly what you did. I mean, it may be clear as day right now, but is it going to be the same in 2 weeks or whatever it takes to get a part? I'm not sure. So put it back together, and you can kind of start fresh with the right parts when it's time to reset this. So that's exactly what we'll do here. We'll put the drag system in place. We'll put that cap washer back on. This is the washer for the, let's get that set in. This is the washer that's the inside of the anti-reverse clutch, and that should sit into the two grooves on the face. And we get those two springs. Don't lose those springs. Those go over each post, and then we can put that side plate back on. We'll put the screws back in, and we'll be able to walk away from this. And when those parts come, well, we'll be able to take care of this. So this is an interesting one. I was expecting to see a broken part, not a missing part. So I'm going to have to talk to Angel and find out what in the world went on. Who serviced this reel? What did they do, etc. Because it's missing. Okay. Well, I'll tighten up the rest of the reel. I'll put it back together, put it on my shelf. I'm going to go to Avet. People ask me, where do you get Avet parts? We get them right from Avet. and they do have a good support system there. It seems like every part that I've ever needed they've had, so hopefully they will have the jack for this one. I'll try and go online and get the schematic for the reel as well, and that way it'll make it easier when I go to order the part. Usually the schematics will show you the burst diagram of the reel as well as the part numbers for them. And in this case, well, I'm going to need a part, so it's good to know. Next up, after you've tightened your case screws, there's 2 shim washers that go, and that click ratchet we saw, that's the noise maker. Then our star adjuster wheel goes back on. And now you can hear the click that that's making. Then we have a bottom washer for the handle. We have the handle, and the top washer is sitting on that handle right now. You can see I just knocked it off. Then we have the handle cap. Tighten that down. We don't have to tighten it down all the way. It's not going fishing anywhere, but again, just for reference points, it's good to put these pieces and parts back together again. So this one basically is a diagnostic video. We found out what the cause of the issue is. Strangely, I can honestly say I haven't seen that before from somebody who just dropped the reel off and says, oh, it's not working. I mean, most of the time somebody will come in and say, you know, I had the reel apart and whatever. But in this case, he just said this one's not working. I got a second one from him. I'm almost as curious as what in the world's going to be going on with that one. That's a Shimano Stratic spinning reel that's completely frozen. So I don't know what they did, but I know what they didn't do here. They didn't reattach the jack when it was time to put that back together. All right, lessons learned. So I hope you've enjoyed that. If you want to see the full service on this, you pretty much saw how to take it apart and put it back together again. We didn't see how to correct the problem because we don't have the piece. We'll get that piece. We'll get it back together again. We'll make sure this reel has a second chance. Hope you've enjoyed that. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for all it is that you do to keep us safe. Your efforts are appreciated. To all, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.